Let's talk about our first guy, a guy that, as someone who's tied to the Minnesota program pretty closely, let's get into Tyler Nubin, safety for Minnesota. A lot of people's boards have him as the number one safety, right? There are a lot of people, though, that would disagree with that. But for our sake, we're going to talk about him like he's the number one safety on the consensus board. Basically, the argument is, should safety be taken in the first round? Is kind of what it comes down to. And we've had him mocked in the first round a couple times, and other times we haven't had him mocked in the first round. So, CD, where are your thoughts? Maybe what are some good landing spots for Tyler Nubin? What does he do well? And will he or will he not go in the first round?
To me, for a safety to go in the first round, you have to do a couple things. Either you are an uber athlete with crazy potential, right, who just pops off the board like a Derwin James, remember him, or a Minka Fitzpatrick, and you move whatever it might be, right? Or you can have that positional flexibility where you can come down into the box, right, and you can play like that, or you can play in the slot, right, and whatnot. So like think Cooper DeJean, right? Cooper DeJean, I feel really good about saying he's going to be in the first round because he can play safety, he can play slot, he can play outside corner. You think about a guy like Antoine Winfield, right? A former teammate of Tyler Nubin should have probably gone in the first round, right? I know there were some guys banging the table for him to go in the first round, but not. To me, I do think, and I love Tyler Nubin and his ball hawking and his ball skills, his instincts, all that stuff. I don't think he's quite enough an elite athlete to take him to be a difference maker in the first round. And it pains me to say that because I love him, right? And he's been awesome for Minnesota. He's really grown into his role as free safety and whatnot. But I don't know if he's going to be in the first round. To me, I would take him early second, fill a need there. First round picks to me there's certain stigma about them, right? They have to play early, right? And they also have to be good. And Tyler Nubin, good to great. And Tyler Nubin, I think, is going to be a pretty productive starter throughout his whole career in the NFL. But I mean, he ran like a 4.6, right? And not a special athlete, not super fluid. And to have the instincts he does kind of makes up for the fact that maybe he's not an elite athlete and that he can get to spots where, I mean, Jeff Sims is misreading or staring someone down and Tyler Nubin can jump that, but you're not going to play against Jeff
Twice.
Sims in the NFL. Twice. Thank you. You're not going to play against Jeff Sims in the NFL, right? You're going to play against elite quarterbacks as well who are going to receivers and tight ends who are a step or two faster than you're used to in the Big Ten. So like Tyler Nubin, really good college player. He's going to be a pretty darn good NFL safety, but I don't think it's going to be in the first round.
And that's very fair. That's a very fair evaluation. Let me ask you this too. What I know the answer to this because, if you've watched both Antoine Winfield and Tyler Nubin, you know they're very different players for the most part. People love drawing the comparison because it's two Minnesota safeties. What makes Antoine Winfield a more desirable draft prospect than Tyler Nubin? Is it for every single reason that you said, or are there a couple key
Yeah,
differences there?
just about it. And also Antoine Winfield, when he was coming out, he was just because of his size, he was pegged as a slot corner. And at that time, like slot corners weren't quite like the elite value that they are today, where you see a guy like, you know, Nate McKinn, or I'm sorry, Nate Wiggins, or obviously Cooper Jean, like I mentioned before, being able to step in and be first round picks, potentially playing the slot. Anton Winfield is actually a really, really good safety. And like you said, like he's a better athlete than Nubin, just same good as ball skills and whatnot. He's also, I think, a better tackler than Tyler Nubin, even at his size. Tyler Nubin
I
is
agree.
physical and very willing in the run game, but he takes some bad angles partly because he's a 4.6 athlete. And to me, I don't love viewing the 40-yard dash, but when it shows up on tape at times where you're like a half second behind, and when you are at safety, you are running 20, 25 yards to make an angle, right? To get to a running back to not have him turn the corner or to cut off a crossing route, whatever that might be. You need that long speed. You need to get there, accelerate, but also maintain that for another, you know, 12 yards, right? Whatever that might be, how long it takes you to get to your top speed. So yeah, like I said, I mean, like Tyler Newman a lot. Don't know if he has the traits and the positional value and the upside at that position to be in the first round.
I'm with you. For me, he's not in the first round. We did mock him a couple times though, and people are gonna point that out and be like, but. And this is how the board fell, I guess, that specific day, or we just couldn't find another player that we liked over Tyler Nubin in that spot. I think we mocked him to the Cardinals a couple of times, but like, dude, the Cardinals are gonna be active on draft day. Like, we don't know like where they're gonna be picking. Like, in those situations, we had him trading back. They could trade back, trade up. Like, It just kind of depends how the board falls. Is there going to be running tackles, receivers? I think the over under for offensive players in the first round is 21 and a half. Defensively, it's 10 and a half. The question you have to ask yourself, right? Is it going to go over 10 and a half defensive players in the first round, right? And if it does, right, is Tyler Nubin in that top 11 or top 12 defensive players, right? Is he in that same category as, those three or four corners, as those three edge rushers, as those two interior defensive linemen? And my answer to that is no. My answer to that is no. So while I think in safety is an important position, obviously it has not been valued the way it has or has been in the past. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I would say Tyler Newman, great player, by the way. On this, I have the notes right here. I pulled them up for the preseason. I have my studs and duds. Studs, Jaw Joyner. I had him in the stud category. Tyler Newman, I had him in the stud category. Justin Wally. Just for you, you'll like this. I had Sawyer Marin in the dud, but he's gone, so that's good. So sorry, Marin gets too many bullets on this show if you've been following along for a long enough time. Uh, but yeah, Tyler Newton, we've been high on him for a while. Everyone has. I mean, he's just a good football player, man. So I can't wait to see where he lands. And uh, whether or not he starts, who knows? But I think either way, you got a smart, instinctive football player, and smart, instinctive football players tend to play really well on special teams. So
And also
I think
just last in the NFL in general too. Like, you know.
absolutely.